to the bonus round. Yes. Okay, we're getting there. Jesus Christ. Guys, before we get into our discussion about hype, I want to tell you guys, if you're watching this on our Patreon on our Patreon page, thank you. You guys get the added bonus of getting this video on time a week earlier than everybody else. So how's that feel? Special?
Hi,
You should. Yeah. Hype. And if you're watching this on YouTube, well, that's right. We do offer this a week early to our Patreon exclusive members, but we offer it a week later to everybody else because we don't want to exclude anybody. We're all about inclusion. We like everybody.
Yeah. Community.
You know? It's great. But we do like people who donate a little bit more because they help us out. So,
holla makes you holla.
no. If you can, that'd be great. If not, that's okay. So, here's the deal.
Let's get to it.
We're now going to be talking about something that I think is it's intrinsically become a very popular thing in video game history because like now companies have a lot more money to spend and do a lot more have a lot more time to actually like campaign their games now, but that leads to something called hype, which could hype. It could be potentially extremely amazing for a game, bringing its sales to a unprecedented height, or it could be fucking damning for a game if the hype is more than the game can actually deliver on. And I want to talk to you guys about that and kind of see what your ideas on the whole hype train was like and whether you think that hype is a good thing or a bad thing, and then maybe giving some examples about some games that it benefited from and some others that it had an early death from. So
yeah, totally. So there's a few that come to mind, and I'm just going to get this one out of the way immediately because to me it's the most recent. No Man's
Cooking Mama 5.
Fucking so hyped.
No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky.
Oh man.
No Man's Sky was hyped up, like, and I was part of it. Like when I saw trailers for it, I was like, oh my god, this looks gorgeous. This is gonna be amazing. Like intergalactic, like traveling, going different planets, doing a bunch of crazy shit.
Right.
This looks awesome. Game releases. And it is the most boring experience of my life. I went to planets to harvest shit, get fuel, and then go to another planet and do the same thing.
Well, that was like the problem with that game though, because they literally lied about the gameplay. Like this was a Sony exclusive, right? It was a PS4 exclusive. Yeah. The game was
no, it's on Steam.
Now it is.
Well, yeah,
I think it released for PS4.
I don't know if it did.
Either way,
Either
on
way.
consoles it's only on PS4. And when the game was, the developer, the creator, I can't remember his name, but he's like universally hated now at this point.
Yeah, he's trying being interviewed.
Yeah. He was talking about how this game is, like you could visit an infinite amount of worlds and galaxies, and each planet is its own unique, like has its own life and like plant life and
different
animal
creatures
life and everything. And you're gonna be able to go and investigate and interact with these creatures and maybe with new races and discover just like you would as a vagabond of space. And then you get the game and it's like, oh, there's a lot less exploration, more fucking farming.
Yeah,
it was just a farming game.
Farming for fuel.
Yeah. Right.
It's the dumbest thing in the world. It was pretty. I mean, it looked pretty traveling through space.
Yeah, but then it all started to look the same, didn't it?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's
right.
That's about it. Like, it was such a letdown. I remember my friend Brian picked it up, and he's like, I got it, let's play. He brought it to my place, popped it in, an hour into it. I'm like, so what else do we do? Like, it's just like, I feel like we've been doing the same thing for the past...
It's No Man's Sky for a reason. No one fucking wants it. Like,
it was such a letdown. And then another one that I could think of, this goes back in the past, one of my favorite marketing campaigns of all time was Sega in the 90s. Sega does what Nintendo don't. Like, loved it.
I love it.
It had the 90s attitude. It was such a cool marketing scheme. And it's just Sega.
Well, what was the marketing campaign?
If a marketing campaign could ever just be wearing glasses, like just some cool 90s shades.
Yeah, dude. Sega does what Nintendo. That was their marketing. They tried to overhype. Like, the Sega Genesis is so much better than the Super Nintendo. Look at all this shit. And it's just, you play the games and it's just like, all right, Sonic's okay.
Tekken's pretty fun.
But then
there's that one helicopter shooter.
But then you're just like, what else do you got, Sega? And it's like, Altered Beast. And you're just like, Altered Beast is not that good. Yeah. It's okay.
Nintendo don't because
Tekken came
they're
out
good.
PS1.
No, I had Tekken on Sega Genesis. I played Tekken.
That's a virtual fighter.
Yeah, that's what I said.
What do you think?
Which Virtual Fighter?
I couldn't read when I was playing it, so that's probably why.
Was,
I think the best thing about
That was a fun
Genesis compared to the Super Nintendo was the Mortal Kombat actually had blood, and it was better than the Nintendo version, which was just gross, like sweaty brown stuff.
What was the thing they always promoted? It was like boost processing or whatever the heck it was.
Yeah, it was.
What the hell did they call it?
Because it was also, they tied in with Sonic. It was like
Turbo,
speed.
wasn't it? Oh no, that was TurboGrafx. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
no, they always promote it's like, oh, it's got boost processing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what the hell?
What does that even mean?
It's just words.
When you turn on the machine, it sounds
But
inside the fucking.
like compared to the Nintendo, which had the Super FX chip, and it's just like that. Like you play like Super Metroid, and you're just like, holy shit! Like that's
Yeah.
really fucking awesome. But yeah, that's. I mean, that's.
So those are two examples of hype when it was damning for a.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not.
well, no, it worked for Sega.
Well, no,
It's-
Sega did really well.
Yeah,
Oh, it did.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but I
at
mean,
least here in like the US and stuff, it was outselling the Super Nintendo.
yeah, and like, and
I mean, I had a Sega Genesis before I had a Super Nintendo.
and the
playing
and the
Tekken.
second
Like
like
playing Tekken, I was
that's
really
the thing
ahead of my
about
time.
Sega. It's like if one thing Sega has always done right is like their marketing has always been awesome. Like in the '90s they had that, and then for the Dreamcast they had what's the guy's name? Sega Santoro, I think was his name. Have you ever heard of him?
Wasn't it like the old, like kind of monkish guy? Like the...
He was in like a karate gi
Yeah,
or
yeah,
gi,
yeah, yeah.
and he would beat up kids who didn't play Dreamcast, and he had a giant Dreamcast on his back.
Jesus.
Yeah, look it
No,
up.
Never mind. That's not what I'm thinking
I
of.
forget his name. It's hold on, let me look it up real quick. Talk about yours. Let me look it up real quick.
Good
sounds
lord.
Dude,
Yeah, Sega's always been really good with their marketing campaigns. They definitely like helped provoke bullying back in the 90s.
That marketing campaign made the Dreamcast be the #1 seller for a short while because of that marketing scheme.
It's amazing how powerful
Yeah,
that
then
was.
the PS2 came out and it died.
Yeah. Like I said, Sega has always had good marketing. The payoff, we all know Sega's not that great, but the marketing was awesome. So let me just look up this guy's
that's
name.
always what they had going for them was their marketing.
Yeah, dude.
What about you? Do you have any?
So-
first, do you have any opinions about hype before you give an example?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I think it's a delicate balance. You have to. You don't want to just like, show off a game way too early, because it's like things get delayed, things happen. It's like, I would say if you are absolutely positive that game's coming out within a year, you could start to promote it. I think like 6 months is like a good, like a really good window to hit. And things like Bethesda's been doing that lately with stuff like Fallout 4 was like that, where they're like, hey, here's the game, it's coming out in a few months. Everybody's like, yes! and then, obviously it did well for them, and everybody was so pumped. I think it's just one of those things that's like, you can't start showing it off too early.
Because then you become a Last Guardian situation.
Yeah.
It's 10 years in the making.
Yeah, it's like Last Guardian was like that.
Maybe Death Stranding.
And then Death Stranding's gonna get there for
I
sure.
don't think so.
It's
I ain't really hyped about that game.
but a
though,
big
if
one was like
anything.
Watch Dogs. It's like, dude, they promoted that way too early.
And like that was supposed to show off like next gen power.
Yeah,
and stuff.
and they were showing off like things that game never ended up being. Like these like, I remember the first trailer for that game and be like, dude, it's like if this is what like the PS4, Xbox One are gonna be like, it's like, I'm looking forward to this. And it's like that game didn't look anywhere near as nice.
Well,
as
I think you hit the nail on the head. Ubisoft for me is one of the biggest companies that has a problem with hype.
yeah.
I mean, I remember like when Assassin's Creed was announced back in the day for the Xbox 360, like that whole generation. That was like the biggest thing. Everyone could not shut up about Assassin's Creed, and then you play it and you're like, oh, this sucks.
I'm doing the same thing over
like
just
and
walking
over.
through crowds and just stabbing at some church
Yeah.
dude.
Which is like kind of fun because like you just do that for like a long time, just going like this, like a thrilling wave of crowds, and then just like into your monk pose, and you're like, oh, that's all you can do. That and fucking climb a tower and jump into a bale of hay, and it's like I didn't. What is it, fucking bale of hay? Free jumping simulator? Free simulator.
Free base.
That's a Richard Pryor game. But I think Ubisoft has a huge problem. That's why I really don't like that company too much. They have like some saving graces. Like I did like For Honor, and apparently Mario plus Rabbids is doing really well. But
Right.
And that game,
Assassin's
like,
Creed fucking was terrible, and so was the one you just Watch Dogs was fucking awful too.
But you think about like, and obviously, because of the Switch, it's like there was only a certain amount of time they could do this. But it's like Rabbids was shown off at E3, and
Yeah.
then it came out in August. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's perfect. It's
Mm-hmm.
I think that was just enough time to get people to kind of accept the fact that Rabbids are in a game with Mario, and then like you had some
To come to terms
Yeah, and
that
then you
their
had some
universe
hands-
is being tampered with.
yeah, because it's just like that's super weird. Like when the leaks were coming out, everybody's like, "What is this?"
Yeah, it's like, what are
It sounded-
those
it sounded
rabbit
awful.
things?
But then you have some preview events, a lot of positive, remarks on it, and then it's like, and then it comes out, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, and it's been doing well for him, and it's like, I think that's, 6 months, I think is like a pretty perfect window. It's like that's your entire advertisement,
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, show it off at E3 or a big event, do some previews for people, then have some commercials and all that fun stuff, and then release the game.
Sure.
Because
It makes a lot of sense.
You can't have something that's too far out. It's too crazy.
Right. I mean, there are some games that did go that route and released some small amount of content at the very beginning, like before it was even developed, before they had any like in-game footage or anything like that, and they really accrued a lot of hype for a lot of time and somehow stayed relevant for that amount of time, and then ended up releasing the game and actually delivered.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is necessarily the best example for that exact scenario, but I do remember being extremely, oh, you know what? Zelda Breath of the Wild was that.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the first footage for the fucking Wii U. Back when the
Yeah.
Wii U was released, they had
Yeah.
a tech demo where you saw
The
Link
spider thing.
battling
yeah.
a spider thing, yeah. And then you're like, what is
Yeah,
this?
yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh no way, it's gonna look like this."
Oh no.
I was just like,
no!
I was just like, what the
man.
I was like, there
No
is
way.
no way this is gonna happen. Like, just get the fuck out of here. Like, this is not happening. And it
He
did.
said that for years.
I did.
Every time someone came over, like,
But
hey,
was
what's
that
going on?
right?
Get the fuck out
Have
of here.
you seen this shit? Like, that ain't happening.
That's
What
like
is
been
that?
3 years ago. Yeah. Like, what is
Who
that
are
even?
you?
The game is out. Oh no!
Okay, what about this shit? Yeah, and that was funny too, because actually Zelda has a pretty illustrious history of that too. I mean, back when the GameCube was released,
Yeah, the fight with Ganon.
they had the fight with Ganon, and it
Yeah.
was completely different from what they
Yeah.
ended up releasing,
But I
which was
think
Wind
like
Waker.
those aren't even like announcements
They're
as much
tech
as they're
demos.
tech demos.
But they're still announcements, because it's like, you're not going to tell me that there's not going to be a new Zelda game on your new platform?
Yeah,
It
but
will
it's
be,
like,
but it's like that's a tech demo.
But it's
Sure.
just like, why are you making it? If it's like, you show me this tech demo of this serious-looking Link versus Ganondorf, you're like, whoa, and then you see Wind Waker, and you're like, that's not at all what you showed me. It's completely different. Like,
I'm not
nothing
mad,
alike.
but
No, I mean, but the thing is, before people played Wind Waker, everyone was very upset.
oh yeah, for sure.
And nobody looked
everybody
forward
was
to it. Everyone was like,
Everyone was
what the
pissed.
hell is this bullshit? It looks like a fucking kid's like cartoon show. Like
Yeah.
no one liked it. So because of that tech demo, everyone's like, what happened to that?
Yeah.
Like,
you know
I
what's
mean,
funny too is that I think that's like one of my favorite art styles for Zelda
Oh
franchise.
yeah, dude, everybody loves that.
Oh, it paid off
Everybody
well.
loves
Yeah.
Wind
And Wind
Waker
Waker HD is beautiful.
Oh my
Like,
God.
it looks
So good.
gorgeous.
Yeah, I think Zelda did really well multiple times with its hype. Twilight Princess
Yeah.
2, coming up with the Wii, like that was a big
Well, I think
fucking deal.
I think for the most part, like the companies that do it really well because of how reserved they are like Nintendo and Rockstar.
Mm-hmm.
They're very reserved companies when it comes to their stuff. Where it's like there's some of the few companies that are like, here's a picture, and it's just like, but
Yeah.
but where's the rest?
Yeah.
It's like that's just a picture of like a cowboy.
And then Javier's like, get the fuck out
That
of
ain't
here.
happening. Get
There ain't no
at it.
cowboys.
Where are the Indians? Huh?
Yeah, there's some of the few companies that are just like, here's like a picture or a really short teaser. The game will be out in like 3 years.
You know what's
You're
funny?
not getting anything else.
You know what's funny is I'm seeing a correlation here. The companies that are the worst with hype, at least in the most recent years, are also the fucking provocateurs of microtransactions.
Yeah, it's just-
EA has Battlefront 1 came out
Yeah.
a couple years
You're
ago.
talking about bad hype.
Holy shit, everyone was
Yeah.
so excited for that game. Like
Yeah.
the game in-game footage that they were showing, everyone could not be more excited
Of
for
course.
Star
How could
Wars
you
series.
not? Like, it
Exactly.
looked amazing.
Then they released a beta, and then shortly after they released the game, and they gave like 2 more things
Yeah.
that they didn't have in
It's
the
like,
beta.
is this like beta 2.0?
Exactly, and people were super pissed, and then especially even people were even more outraged that I think it was upon the release they also announced their season pass, which was $40, and the game came with 3 maps. So
Yeah.
in order to actually get your $60 worth of game, you had to pay another $40,
Yeah,
$100
it's-
for a game that should have been
yeah.
$60
And you could pay more than that. I think
for in-game purchases and shit like that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
It's
microtransactions.
there's
You
people
know-
that pay like $200 for that game.
That is,
I don't know
that's
how.
gross.
You can't justify that.
Well, you buy
Yeah.
just go buy a new console.
Just go buy the Millennium Falcon for that price.
Yeah, it's a hunk of junk anyways. 12 fucking parsecs. What get the fuck out of
No,
Shit ain't real.
here. It's not even a real measurement of time. That ain't real.
Telling
Shit
me
ain't
some
real.
big hairy monsters flying
Yeah.
there?
What are you gonna tell me that you're measuring your distance with a Pokemon? Parsec, whatever.
Fucking he's and for the Chewbacca from Endor, but that's where the Ewoks live. It can't be from there. Don't make any
Fake
sense.
news.
It's fake news.
Fake news. Yeah, Battlefront was a terrible. It did not benefit from the hype. One game that was slightly hyped but then was overshadowed by other games was Titanfall. Titanfall had a huge marketing campaign, one that even like had a like a 2-story replica of a mech of one of the mechs in like of a Titan in the
Yeah.
game. And they like put it out in like some mall front or whatever. I remember I did some research a while ago on my own personal time. I was like looking this stuff up and I found the campaign, the ad campaign or whatever her name, the head of that. She like had this whole thing. Like it was really fucking insane for Titanfall, the way everything that she did, but it's still overshadowed by Call of Duty and Battlefield when it came out that year.
Of course,
Which is upsetting because that game
was better.
was better. And Titanfall 2, I mean, like, you know, fixed all the problems with the first one, gave a campaign, and actually, like, everything is real tight in that game. It's a lot of fun, but still, you know, because that first game tanked, it the devastation, like, led up to the sequel, too. So far to where EA bought the goddamn company.
yeah, they just did.
You
You know, it's another good one that I really liked. It also was in the 90s. 90s had good ad campaigns. The PS1 Crash Bandicoot, when they would,
yeah.
the dude in the
PSP squirrels.
the dude in the costume would go to the Nintendo like parking lot and be like, "What you got, plumber?" Like, it was so funny. You just see the security guard like escorting him off like the property. Well, like in Crash Bandicoot, it's again like a timeless classic, and they just got remastered in HD. But like that trilogy by
And they
itself.
they redid
and
that.
mascot dude was at E3.
Yeah,
it was
that's
great. He
They
was
had
hanging
they had
out.
commercials about it too. They had him doing like CrossFit and shit.
Really?
Yeah, in the
That's
commercials,
awesome.
he was like, he's back and he's strong. He's like doing a more like modern workout now.
Dude,
Anyways.
oh my God, you know what? If we're gonna keep going with ad campaigns, the Kevin Butler for PS3,
Oh yeah,
those
met
ad.
him the other day.
I know, I'm
It was
really
so-
jealous of you.
what a
I'm
good
so
dude.
jealous.
Yeah.
But like that, those ad campaigns are hysterical, and it's like some of the funniest things I've seen in recent years. Like all of them are really funny.
This is
Which,
the ad campaign where it's like the spokesman of like PS3 was
Yeah,
saying,
where he's like the CEO of Sony, and he's
he's like, this is why Sony's great. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
He's just like very matter of fact
yeah,
and kind of blunt
I
about it.
love the one of my favorites is, and it didn't do well, but was for motion controls, and he's like, some people say motion controls are only for children. He just starts cracking up, and you just see an epic montage of a family like playing like motion control games and just yelling at each other, like like
There's
they're doing
one
a
where he like
boxing.
ends up like talking to some guy about PS3 and he's like, yeah, your wife loves it. And your kids too. He's like, is that my wife? He's like, yeah. They're having a good time over here. And it's just like,
That was such a good one.
So
Dude,
good.
it's like that ad campaign's hilarious. It's
Yeah.
that's the thing, like, you know, you can appreciate really good marketing, and the PS3 wasn't bad. I mean, it was a powerful system, really good, and had a lot of good features. You know, obviously less than others. Like the motion controls didn't
Sure.
go far, but
it's
still.
weird. That game, that console came out at $600 price point when it first released.
Yeah.
And now we have the Xbox
and
One
the
X.
first marketing campaign for PS3 was awful. It was awful.
Really?
Awful.
What
It was
was it?
just like
I remember.
I
it was
don't
just
remember.
weird nonsense. It's like, what is going on with like that? And PSP had the worst.
Oh, the PSP squirrels were the worst.
Yeah, that it's the same.
I'm playing that.
It's just
What the fuck is
Oh,
this?
yeah.
He's talking. And there, like I remember the one with like PS3 when it was like coming out. It had like some weird like baby doll thing on the ground. Like it was like shaking and
Oh,
levitating.
yeah,
I
that was
like,
fucking
I was like, what is
weird.
happening?
I don't
It's
remember
I
like-
that.
repressed that.
Terrifying.
That scared the
That-
shit out of
they
me back in
needed-
the day.
I'm glad they just whoever's doing those commercials, they just I
Yeah.
guess fired
Well-
and got Kevin Butler.
Dude, I
and-
want more Kevin Butler ads.
I know.
It was so funny.
I told him when I met him the other day. I was like, dude, I want them to bring you back to do more stuff. And he's like, I would love to.
Yeah,
Those are
it's
funny.
so funny.
You know, so hype is definitely something that can really help out a game or really like crush it. And like I think more times than not, at least I think the negative times it stands out more because it's just
Oh, yeah.
such a huge letdown that it like you know makes a blemish on
Yeah.
a franchise for a good long time. I mean, case in point, Titanfall, or No Man's Sky, really more so. Titanfall actually delivered, but it was just like
Yeah, No
didn't
Man's
make it.
Sky is just a lie.
I
No
think
Man's Sky.
just the biggest thing, it's just like, I think people just need to have tighter windows for their ad campaigns and promoting a game and showing it off and stuff. Say, just give your game 6 months, maybe a year.
Or just don't put a lot of money into a game that sucks, and then be like, fuck, how do we get them to sell this? And it's like they have to like make up lies to get it, to be, to get it off the shelves.
And that's why Rockstar is so good at their games, because like I don't care if Red Dead takes 4 years, 5 years to make a new game.
Yeah, you're still playing GTA 5. You have time.
Or like GTA. I don't care if those games are so long in between, because they're just such masterpieces when they come out. So just take all the time in the world.
Yeah, that's how I felt with Breath of the Wild. I was like, I would have liked it on Wii U, or I would have liked to have a Zelda game on the Wii U, because I was like the one of 4 people who had one. But I'm glad that I waited, because it fucking paid off.
You can still get Breath of the Wild on Wii U.
No, I'm saying like...
yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's just, and I think it's one of those things that it's like not only do companies need to, kind of tighten up when they're talking about their games, but it's like people also need to keep their expectations in check. Yeah. It's like, even with like Zelda and stuff, I was just like, nope. I'm not gonna really think about it too much. Yeah. I'm just gonna just keep all your expectations in check. It's just like
it's hard in this day and age too, with like the technological or the information superhighway that we have now. Like everyone like talking, communicating, and like one little like tidbit is released or leaked. It's like all of a sudden it like just goes out of control.
Remember the weird Switch hype with the ice? It was so weird. Nice. You remember that?
Oh, with the rumble feature, the HD rumble?
Yeah. Well, it was like he put ice in like a cup. And he's just like,
you can feel
the ice. It's so weird.
Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I think the lesson here that everyone should know: developers don't lie to us, and people have realistic expectations. Stop being so hot and cold with everything. But you should love this show. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching our bonus round. Patreon members, again, patrons. They're called patrons. I always say Patreon members. Whatever. Patrons, we appreciate everything you do for us. You're helping us out. And, you could, people YouTube and podcasts, you could take a note. You could take a note from this guys.
Take a note.
No, but again, seriously, guys, thank you so much. Even having your eyes on this page is great. We always love what you do, and that is watching things. And that's always fun, listening to us. If you ever want to give us a shout out or anything, you definitely hit up the comment section either on our Patreon page or YouTube, and let us know what you'd like to hear next, because we're always open for suggestions and we want to make you guys happy as possible.
So hit us up, send us a message.
We love you.
All that fun stuff.
That's right. You're like, is it over yet? Okay, we love
no.
you. Like, it just came up.
It's Sagata Sanshiro is who he was.
No one
Look
cares.
him up, Sagata Sanshiro.
Okay, there you go.
He was
There's
a
your
savior
homework
for the Dreamcast.
All right, guys, we will see you next Thursday, or this coming Thursday, really, on our next episode of Multiplayer, and we'll see you a week from now on Patreon.
Hype.
We'll see you later, guys. Keep grinding. Woo! Bomb. Done. Bow.
Love you.
Hype.
On behalf of Multiplayer, Mario would like to send a special thank you to Jaden Lawrence, Arturo Mendera, Merchadan Kroll Pitaru, and Mario Dorado. Thank you so much for watching.